We're live.
Hello.
Hi.
Everyone's back.
We're all here.
Yes. Once again. How's it going, guys?
I am
Doing all right. How was your
frozen.
trip? Because I missed the update last episode.
Trip was good. Trip was busy. Had some flight annoyance on the way home, but trip was good. Gamescom was pretty wild. But two thumbs up. Would do again.
How was the Calgary trip? You were here for a day.
Man, this last week has been so friggin' busy.
Wait, you went to Calgary?
He was here for like
for
12
one night. I
hours
was
or
there for
something.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
god.
15 hours. Because we got sold recently, right?
Yeah.
And so I knew I was gonna need a new visa, and from the day it was announced the sale, I was like reaching out to HR, being like, "Hey, so what are we gonna do? What's the status with my living in the States? Like, what's going on?" And just no one would respond or answer any questions to me. Then I go away for my trip for a couple weeks, and I come back, and someone's like, "Oh, hey, so when are you gonna go up to Calgary?" And I was like, I'm not. But if you would like to have a conversation with me, I would love to talk about this. I've been emailing you guys for weeks. They're like, "Oh yeah, you need to do this like in 4 days."
Oh.
So
Fun.
flew up Tuesday, flew back down Wednesday, got my new visa. I'm just so tired of like rushing because last week, as we're gonna get to, was super busy for me as well. So I'm just like, I'm so tired. What about you? I didn't get an update from you last week. How's your last like 3-ish weeks been?
That's a
Sounds
good way to
bad.
sound it. Just
Okay.
I got nothing really to complain about. It's well, I guess a little bit. Bagel's gotten the snot beaten out of him a couple times, so he's on house
Man.
arrest again because 2 weeks ago he had a big like abscess on his face, like on his jaw. So we
Oof.
had to
Ew.
bring him to the vet to get that drained, and then they gave him antibiotics for a week. And then Wednesday we had to bring him back again because he had one on the back of his neck.
He's
So he's got like
Gross.
the fur's missing off of like this part of his face, I guess this side, and he's got just a big chunk missing out of the back of his neck, and he's just got like a bunch of wounds he's trying to heal up. So he is basically on house arrest for now until the foreseeable future.
yeah,
Okay.
fair.
So that's probably the most interesting thing that's happened here in the last couple of weeks.
What about you, Paul? Anything going on with you?
Nothing in particular. No. Just watching oh my god, what's it called? Only Murders, new season.
Okay. I
I'm,
actually haven't started it yet, actually.
I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying, but
Oh, you're not into it.
there's some good stuff in there, but it's a little
That's
dry and
disappointing.
slow. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see where it goes. I think there'll be some things that you enjoy in there, but it's been a little slow ever since the kind of like big thing that happens in episode 1.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about it. I need to get to it, but I've just been. It came out when I was in Europe, so I go behind on some stuff.
It's such an easily bingeable watch. You could even just wait for it all to be out and spend a weekend watching all of it. Like, would probably be good.
True. Okay. Well, then let's talk about some games because a lot happened this week. Uh, Top down perspective. September 12th. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
John Wheeler.
And why don't we just all talk about Astro Bot now that you guys are playing it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's a
mean, I
good game.
finished it. I've completed it.
Wow.
That's a great game.
100%?
100%. Yep.
You got the platinum?
No, because I don't care about trophies. I saw some of the trophies and they're specifically like, go do this at this. Like, I'm not doing that. I don't care about that. I
Okay.
I collected
think I'm
all
gonna
the
get the
in-game
platinum.
stuff though.
I heard it's not too bad to get the platinum, other than like
Yeah.
enough money to buy everything.
And that I did, that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get enough money naturally, or did you have to kind of grind?
I grinded for about an hour after everything was done in a level
Yeah,
that
yeah.
got a lot of stuff. But like, it was fun. It was a good time.
I'm pretty sure you do have to grind simply because like I was getting them all and having money left over, and now I'm at a point where there's like so many things left in the damn gotcha machine.
It's those
I can't pay
fucking
for.
soda cans, man. They screwed me.
Not even the soda cans, man. Like I got access to all the extra costumes, and like they're all buried over the accessories for the bot. So I'm just like, okay, cool. I can't get any of these because by the time I get all the accessories, I'm out of money. So I'll
Sure.
go do another stage and get some money. Oh crap, there was enough Sony bots in there that I have to like spend all that money again on the costumes. I can't get any of the actual things I want.
Sure.
What costume do you have? What costume do you have Astro in? What color do you have the controller in?
He's in the pirate suit currently, and I have the neon and purple, black,
Ooh, that's a
black and
good
purple
one.
outfit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a nice one.
Okay, I have the same controller. It's like blue and purple, right? With like
It's
black.
like the body itself is black, and then like it goes between blue and purple on the actual
Yeah,
like
so-
outside parts.
okay.
Yeah.
And then I have oh, I don't even remember the character's name, but Gravity Rush
Oh,
outfit.
Cat. Right, unless it's
Cat.
not Cat. Cat's the main character.
Okay, yeah, with like the blonde hair. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what my Astro looks like. Paul?
Controller is the it's not graffiti, but it's like all the characters or whatever, like cartoon characters.
Oh,
I
that was
have that
another good
unlocked.
one. Yeah.
And Parappa, and I haven't strayed and will never stray. Like, why would I ever need anything else?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Paul finished it. John, where are you at?
I'm halfway through World 3 right now. So I've done everything I
Okay.
could up to that point. So I've 100% of the other worlds, and I've done all the secret world stages I can.
Nice.
Okay. I'm halfway through 4. I've also done every single possible thing so far. It's real good. I said it last week. I'm curious, Paul, if you agree with me. It would be surprising if there are 10 better games than this by the end of the year.
I have been struggling to decide where on my list so far, like mentally. I'm not making a list, but like mentally where it is. It's very
What
high.
you're saying is you know it will be on the list?
Oh, it's 100% on the list. I'm just trying to decide where in the top 5 it is so far.
What about you, John?
Yeah, easily.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's extremely good.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just going to grab it this time because I talked about it last week. I'm going to get the controller.
Okay.
Yeah. He talked a little
Show
bit
and
about
tell,
it last
baby.
week.
Show and tell.
And then he was saying, like, I don't have it with me or whatever, but yeah. This is kind of why I wanted to almost do like a dedicated podcast based on it, because I think there's enough to talk about.
There probably is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be the slowest one to finish the game, more than likely. So.
Oh yeah, like I wouldn't rush anything. Honestly, I'd only finish it because I couldn't stop playing it. I like kept thinking about it while at work and stuff. Like I didn't want to go back. It was just so fun, you know. Like, when's the last time you had fun playing a game? Come on.
I like how people have been saying this is basically Mario Galaxy 3, and I'm like, you're not
I have
wrong.
seen that.
You're
Yeah.
not wrong.
Sure. Very nice. Very cute.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Here's the Astro Bot controller. It would be cool if the eyes moved, but then they have to put like an LCD screen in here.
Yeah.
That would get hella pricey. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's already expensive. It is fun for sure. This is my new go-to for the PlayStation.
Sean, I kind of briefly mentioned it in the chat, but this seems like the type of game that when everyone's done, we should just do a full like spoiler cast or something on to just talk a bunch about specifics. If you're down for it.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Always down to talk games.
Yeah. It's incredible though. Like it made me so happy playing it. Also, what's nice is that when I finished it, I started listening to like other people's opinions about it because I didn't want to get like ruined or anything. And I'm so happy that there's so many people that share the agreements that it's like really depressing to just be like, what happened to, they're closed down. Oh, right. They were shut down. Oh, right. This IP is now this. Like, it's just so depressing.
No, they haven't made one of these for 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bittersweet look back at
Super.
like,
Yeah.
man, all these crazy games used to come out. What do they do now? Oh, Last of Us Part 2. There's probably going to be another Last of Us. God of War. Okay, it's kind of similar.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Mosquito's coming to PS Plus though, so that's kind of sick.
That's funny. That of all things.
Yeah.
I laughed when I found that in the game. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask, was there any like cameos that you guys came across where you were like, I cannot believe this is in here?
Bib Ribbon.
No, I knew that would be in there. Intelligence
Vibram
Cube
was in the last
surprised me.
ones.
Was it? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Intelligence Cube surprised me, and so did Okami of all things,
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, okay.
Okami.
or Matarasu, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there were any others specifically. I don't know. Pretty good though. Pretty good game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving it.
There-
Do you have a favorite stage without spoiling anything?
Hmm.
I think the scale one where
Yep.
the mouse ability, that was pretty cool.
That was a neat one.
Yep. That's a good one.
I like the casino to a
That one's
point. I like the
The
aesthetic of it.
yeah.
casino's cool, yeah.
That one's good. I really, really like the Tree of Funk or whatever. Holy shit.
Oh, sure.
Oh, that
Good
one was
song.
neat too.
So
Yeah.
good.
I am always excited when it's an underground stage because I love that song.
That song is incredible. That's one of the better ones on that whole OST for
Yeah.
sure.
I think the soundtrack by far is very good across the board, but that is definitely one of my favorite ones where anytime I even go like down, I'm like, oh, are they gonna do that song?
Yep.
And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yep. I also like that eventually some of those side stages get a little more challenging, so there's like a little bit
Oh,
of
for sure.
bite there, which I really enjoy too. Not like enough that it's like really really frustrating, but enough that like you have to start thinking for some of them, which is nice.
Yeah, the button symbol challenge stages, those
Those
are all
ones.
essentially because they have no
Those are the
checkpoints at all.
serious ones.
Yeah.
I did run into one side stage that kind of really screwed me, and it was I forgot if I forgot it was called like Crumble Rumble or whatever it is.
Rumble
It's where you have to
Rumbles.
defeat. Yeah, the
Yeah.
third one with those
Oh,
bells.
yeah, that one took me a
Mm.
couple tries.
Holy shit, man! That was like a wall for me. Like it's pretty rare that I'm like failing at a lot of these, and then that one it was just like you're gonna do this 20 times.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. I had some problems with some random parts in some stages, for sure. Yeah. What an incredible game. So good.
Very
So,
good. Very
so,
excited.
so depressing to see all the thing. I was also thinking if they release these like Funko Pops where like I could buy PlayStation like little mascots as Astro Bots, I'd be broke because I
Oh
love
no.
these things so
They might
much.
do it. You never know. There is an Astro Bot plush you can get. So
Yeah.
I just read a tweet that was saying on like the official merch store, like PlayStation's merch store, there's like the same number of Astrobot merch available as there is Concord merch, which
Oh,
is just kind of a funny stat to know.
wow. That's also sad for different reasons. Hmm.
So
hmm.
okay, so I'm looking, Astrobot's like a love letter to PlayStation. The Playroom was hardware.
Sure.
This is like
Software.
games, software
Sure.
characters.
Yep.
What do you think they do next?
Well,
They can't just do like
we know what they do
hardware
next
again.
is DLC for this, they've said. But
Yeah, there is DLC coming.
for the next
Right, it'll
game,
probably be. I mean, I bet there's going to be a, PlayStation 5 Pro thing will show up or
I'm
whatever.
sure. Yep.
More characters for sure. But do you think they like? Do they do nostalgia again? And if so, what could
I
they
don't
even
think they
do?
can. I think this time they might just go off and do their own thing. And maybe just
I mean,
bring back like as like secret like subworlds they do like classic game characters that they had or something like that. They'll have to tone down the amount of like references, but I think they'll probably still do like some mix of both. And
What if
then
they
just
went full like Kingdom Hearts in the next one? Is like every world is themed around, like they kind of do it here too, where the end world of every galaxy is themed around a game, and you kind of do that.
game?
Like, what if they just go deeper into that?
maybe?
Yeah, I guess that could be an idea for sure. I don't know, because I do think they're like this game is kind of similar to Playroom, so I just don't think
Yeah,
they could do it like again.
sure.
Whereas you think of Mario and each game, like it's a totally different mechanic that the whole game is based around and stuff. So, I mean, I
Yeah,
want there to be more Astro. I'm very curious what the trajectory now of Team Asobi is. We don't. I mean, we don't even have sales data for Astro. It's obviously like a critical darling. Everyone's excited, but I don't know if it's like selling well.
right.
Um, so I am curious, like, does this explode? Is it just like an internal darling that they're happy with? Are they just like tech demos from now on? Like, I would love to know what's next for them. Do they just get like put on a live service game? Probably not anymore after the last couple weeks, but
Yeah,
yeah, who knows?
yeah. I don't know. I love it though. Like, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying not to like race through it because I don't want it to end.
Yeah, I went the opposite way where I couldn't stop playing it, so I just kept going.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, what a game.
Okay, John, what else have you been playing?
I think while you were gone, I got an ease phase. So I was playing through the ease series. So I did book 1 and 2 and book 3.
Okay.
Uh, Now I'm doing book 4. Well, I guess I've done book 4 now, technically.
Okay.
Four is weird because there's two different games that came out, and neither of them had the same story. There's like a bunch of differences between them. And then a couple years ago, like a decade ago, they re-released it as a different game with the both stories combined. So I'm just going through all three versions of it just to kind of get the full story. So I did East for the Mask of the Sun, which is the Super Famicom version. And that like it's another bump combat game, but it was honestly pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. Nothing super heavy to write back about, but it was like an enjoyable time.
Where does this rank with 1, 2, and 3?
I mean, 3 has the big nostalgia factor for me because that
Hmm.
was the one I grew up with.
Sure.
And it's the only one that plays differently because 1, 2, and 4 are all bump combat,
Hmm.
and 3 is Zelda 2.
Right.
Yeah, 3 Zelda 2, and
What is
then I also
bump
played through.
combat?
Bump combat is where you just walk into the opponent and then they take damage based on your attack and their defense, and vice
Oh,
versa.
okay.
So if you bump into the side of a character, they take more damage, or like you might not get hurt yourself. But it's just like your car run over people. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna be off the series for a bit because I'm playing through Astro Bot. But
Sure.
once I'm done that, I'll probably go play the TurboGrafx CD one because apparently it got a fan translation and a fan redub because
Okay.
there's a bunch of anime cutscenes and voices, and apparently like a bunch of fans redubbed it like a '90s anime. So I want to actually like
Oh,
check that out and listen to it
that
and
sounds
get that
great.
part of the story.
Yeah.
Hi, hello. And then I'm gonna play through the modern remake, which is a team-based hack and slash. So
Sure. Cool. You've been away for a while. I was going to ask you, did you check out Shadow of the Ninja Reborn?
no, because I forgot it was out, and then when I went to go get a physical copy, the Switch one was out of
Oh,
stock, and the PS5 one hadn't been out yet. So
okay. I highly recommend it.
so
I think you'll like it.
I was gonna say I've been hearing good things.
It's
So
very good. Yeah, very good.
I don't think Natsumi Atari has even done a bad remake at this point. Pocky and Rock is the only one I was like, because it was so hard. But other than that,
The
like
problem with
all
Pocky and
four of
Rock
them been
is that
enjoyable.
it's a little pricey. Still, like
Is
that's
it
a
still?
yeah, it's still pretty high. But
See, I got the collector's edition with like the Rocky plush and everything. So
so it was very expensive for you, is what you're
yeah, I
saying.
went all in. So
Fair enough.
and then I started playing. And I'm like, oh, this game's kicking my ass. Holy shit.
Yeah, the nice thing
So
about Shadow of the Ninja Reborn is that it's like completely redrawn, like a almost like a '90s like SNES like
yeah,
upgrade or
the footage I've
something.
seen of it looks great.
It's
So I'm
very
excited
cool
to play it
looking. A lot
eventually.
of character to it. A lot of character.
How long is it? Because I can't. Because like the Ninja Warriors remake was very short, but it had 5 characters and 2 were extras. So
I mean, I died a lot on some spots, but like it took me about 3 hours. You could probably do it in
that's
two.
pretty good, actually. That's
Hmm.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Really, really fun. There's a lot of re-releases and remasters and stuff coming out and are out now or whatever. That I mean, Lollipop Chainsaw came out today or yesterday, like this
I think
week,
today.
and then the Dead Rising one, of course, is like in a week or so.
I think it's like next Friday.
Yeah, just a lot of that stuff, but yeah, they're cool. Good.
All right. Paul, what have
I've
you
been
been
playing
playing?
Space Marine 2 because that came out right after Astro Bot, like a couple days. Um,
Okay.
After playing Space Marine 1, there are things about Space Marine 2 that I kind of wish were more like 1 because it's so fresh in my memory. The little things are Titus's voice, Captain Titus's voice. I don't like his new voice very much, probably because I got so used to the original one because again I played it like a month ago, so it's pretty fresh in my mind and it sounded wrong. um and I don't think the combat is as enjoyable to me. There is more of a focus on parrying and dodging and stuff because that's what games do these days, which is kind of a bummer. And I think the big thing for me that the first game did that this doesn't do is that you don't heal on executions, which gave the game first game a pretty fun like uh push and pull of like you going into a giant group and just trying to do enough damage to something so you could execute them to heal and keep going, and it made you feel like you were taking on just an army by yourself and it felt really cool. In this one, you're picking up like med packs, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's a little less cool than before. They still do the thing of like when you righteous fury, which is basically your like berserker mode or alt or whatever you want to call it. You'll you'll continuously heal as you do stuff, so that's still in there. But it does slow down combat quite a bit of not being able to easily heal whenever you want by basically just killing a bunch of stuff. And the trade-off is because this game, which is probably the biggest problem I have with this game, is made primarily for you to be playing with two other people at all times. It is very, very focused, even in solo, that it is a multiplayer game. And the problem with that is that the AI is stupid and sucks. So some parts are just really annoying to deal with by yourself, because there'll be an objective point where you have to either control the objective, you have to do a certain thing to keep enemies off of it while other things are happening. Like, even if you're playing with one other person, there's one part in particular where there's a bunch of rippers. There's these tiny, like, think of them like the rats from a Plague Tale, right? They're just everywhere. And to keep them at bay, you have a flamethrower.
It's basically liquid.
It's basically liquid. The problem is that if they overrun you, they just instantly kill you, basically, because they do so much damage. So you keep a flamethrower kind of like going at all times to make sure that they're at bay. And while that's happening, there's also enemies attacking you that don't take as much damage from the flamethrower. So you're constantly trying to like battle them off and like squirt the flamethrower every now and then just to make sure that you're safe for another couple seconds. And if you're playing with another person, you could just be like, okay, you got this duty, I'll like keep everyone off you. It's fine. But solo, it's a fucking nightmare. Like, it's just not fun. And I'm playing on the veteran difficulty, which at the very beginning says this is our intended way for you to play. Like, literally, this is the intended experience. So it's like, okay, we'll play it that way. The intended experience is that you're playing with two other people, though. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to knock it down to normal, because there's a few points now where that's been a contention for me of like trying to keep enemies at bay while also doing a thing.
Very evident for you that you don't have enough friends.
Yeah, well, it's weird because there's not even like a drop in and drop out for random people or something, because like I didn't do anything to like not have an open lobby. I don't care if randos join me. That's how I played Resident Evil 5 for most of like its lifespan when it came out. I just played with random people all the time. So like that doesn't bother me. It's yeah, I don't know. So that's like a big problem. Everything else about the game is incredible. It looks really good. It's one of the best looking games I've played in a while. It runs really smoothly. The combat when you're like doing just kind of the normal ripping through dudes feels pretty good. It only gets kind of like tenuous when there's kind of like a mini boss character and then you're also trying to fight off the little dudes at the same time, because the mini boss characters kind of do focus on like you have to make sure you parry at the right time to do extra damage, and that sort of thing, which I don't know. There's a clunkiness to this combat that I don't like that wasn't there in the first one, so that's kind of a disappointment. But like, the story is fine. It looks really cool, and I'm having a decent enough time with it. I heard it's very short too. I heard it's only like 10 hours total. So I've already put in.
That's not very short. That seems like.
Well, I've already put in
length. 3,
and I've played like 2 sessions. So like, I'm a third done roughly already for a full price game. It's, I don't know, it's a little short. But then there's also the like side mission stuff that you can do with friends, and I do have a couple buddies that are playing it. They've just gone further, or they don't play at the same time as me because I come home later. So I'll probably play those like missions or whatever with them maybe on the weekend, but so far it's pretty good. I still think Space Marine 1 is the better time, but this game just looks incredible and has some like cool set pieces or whatever, so I'm in. It's good.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it.
I've been playing Tactical Breach Wizards.
Nice.
Which is a Tom Francis joint who, like, I mean, Tom Francis just doesn't miss. You know, Gunpoint was the one big one I played. Heat Signature, I didn't play Heat Signature, but I know people liked that one quite a bit. But Gunpoint's a really cool game. And so is Tactical Breach Wizards. This is... So in terms of, like, the tactics, I would not make it like an XCOM. It's very similar to a Into the Breach, in terms of like you have you have an ability to see kind of one step ahead, like what the enemy's about to do, and then you can kind of coordinate around that. And it's a lot about positioning. They are really into the idea of knocking people out windows, which is very fun every time you do that. Um, so it's a lot of kind of because you can just like deplete their health, but a lot of your attacks can't finish off everyone immediately, so you're just going to get damage if you try to actually fight. But most of these spells have knockback, so if you can kind of set it up in a way where you can knock people either into walls or out a window, you can kind of take care of them like that. And that's very cool. Um, the premise is also very fun. You're basically a SWAT team, but magic exists in this world. So you're like SWAT wizards. You're one of them is referred to as a Navy Seer, which is pretty fun.
Sure.
And he looks like this like big bearded Gandalf dude in like tactical gear and night vision camo, all this stuff. And then everyone has different abilities. So like that guy has an Overwatch ability. He's also the one that can see ahead the 1 second. The other character I just got, what was her thing? She has chain lightning, which is very good because you can hit multiple people and it'll knock them back in whatever direction the lightning is coming from. So you can get a little strategic of, okay, I need to hit this person first so that I'm coming from this person from the side. So you can knock multiple people out the window. And the first upgrade for that lets you knock a third person on the chain, which is awesome. All the upgrades are like really great, which is nice to see. It's also great that you can just rewind your turns. So if you screw something up, you're like, no, let me try that one again. It's only until you like really say, okay, I'm going to end the turn where it kind of locks you in.
Okay.
But
Yep.
you can kind of mix and match throughout that whole like turn, um, which is very enjoyable. So I think the writing is pretty good. The world definitely knows it's kind of weird and that weird shit's going on. So it's kind of grounded despite all this magic happening. And then I just like the kind of puzzle aspect of how do you take out these rooms. Often in like one turn, you basically need to find like the perfect way to do this, or maybe two if you're okay taking a little bit of damage and stuff like that. So um, there's also I just like the mechanic for equipping different outfits. Is the currency to unlock the outfits is confidence. So you need to be a certain level of confident before you'll wear a different outfit, which I think is just kind of fun.
That's just life,
And
man.
you gain you gain confidence by doing sub objectives on each stage. So it's like, hey, if you can like finish this round by knocking 3 people out of a window in one go, you will gain 1 confidence. And then if you have 5 confidence, you can wear a different outfit. So that's fun too. I definitely recommend it. I think it's just on PC. It's $20. Um, it has like mild Steam Deck support. You press down on the D-pad to like progress the text when they're talking, which is
Oh,
just
weird.
kind of
Huh.
bizarre. I don't know why you would do that. Um, so I'm kind of waiting for like a Steam Deck update where they kind of optimize all of it. But right now, I've just been playing it on Steam Deck. It is totally serviceable. Um, I think like the big thing that they point out is like some of the text will be small, but I haven't had like too much of an issue with that either. So, Tactical Breach Wizards is definitely very cool.
Nice.
And with that, let's do some news. Not much happened this week, really.
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
not even
Alright.
remotely.
Not yeah. Did you guys see anything, or should we just skip news?
I mean, I didn't
Can
really.
we skip news? Because that would be really funny.
Yo, we should skip news actually, though. Especially considering how we ended the show last week.
Yeah. So obviously the teaser last week is I was like, hey, you should come back because before last week's show, I had already played with the PS5 Pro.
Right.
I am one of the extremely few journalists in the world who have gotten their hands on this thing.
So,
Oh yeah, what did you guys think? I'm curious your thoughts because you obviously watched the presentation, so you kind of saw it as it was presented, and I kind of knew everything that was about to get announced.
I actually only watched the CNET video because you were in it. I couldn't give a fuck less about the presentation or this product.
yeah,
at
I
all.
also did not. I saw clips of the presentation. I'm like, no, I already knew I wasn't buying this. And then when I saw
Yeah.
the price, I'm like, I'm definitely not buying this.
Yeah,
So the
that
price is
price.
$700. That's a big price, and
That is
Yeah.
obviously that's like
952 Canadian
five.
dollars. That's
I was gonna
no
say
good.
5 million Canadian dollars or whatever the
Yeah,
conversion is nowadays.
that's no good.
960 is just for it, and then if you want the disk drive and the stand, it's like another 100. So it's ugh.
Yeah, I've been seeing people get like really up in arms about the disk drive and stand thing, but that's been like standard since the Slim came out last year. So like this is
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
new concept. They charge more for the disk drive and the stand.
I just don't like this idea that I'm spending $1,050 if I want this the way that I want it, because I want a disk drive. That's
Yeah.
that's no good. So, but the nice thing is I don't need to because I don't have any games I care about coming out that would utilize this. Only this rather. So I'm okay.
Yeah, so the way they pitched it to us, it's like Sony is aware of this is not for people who have a PS5. This
Right.
is for people who don't have a PS5. And
Fair.
I think when you look at it that way, I actually think the value is there. It is still high, but I think that's primarily because the PS5 did not get a price cut in the last
Yes.
4 years.
Right.
In fact, it got multiple price increases depending on where you live.
Right.
So if you don't have a PS5 and you're in the market for one, you're gonna so it's $500 for the standard PS5. This has twice the space, so you're looking at about another 100. Another terabyte is probably about $100. We see that on the same with Xbox. So then you're deciding, is $100 worth the power? And I think it is.
Sure.
So I do think the value's there. It's just it's expensive. Absolutely. So I also agree this is not for if you have a PS5, you really shouldn't get this unless you're just like you have the best TV, you need the best everything. That's the thing is like you already know if this is for you or not.
Yeah.
There's nothing that they're going to show that is going to decide.
Well, I
Like,
mean, the
no
other
one's on the
Sony
fence about this
spin
thing.
was you should, if you trade in your thing, it is only $350. It's like, yeah, I mean, no matter what, listen, I'm happy this exists because people should have the option to buy it if they want to.
Yeah.
That, I think this is a waste of time and money, personally. But, like, if you're the type of person that needs the new big thing and you have the money to, fucking have at it. I don't give a shit. Like, jeez.
I'm curious how much of these they actually think they're going to sell. That's what I'm kind of curious about.
They also
Yeah.
gave us statistics on how many people bought the 4 Pro,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it said primarily people who bought the 4 Pro didn't have a 4 already, so it was new consumers. So
Sure.
again, kind of like what I was saying a second ago. And I think they said that the 4 only amounted to about 13% of PS4 owners.
That's still a decent chunk, though.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it's definitely not the majority by a far amount.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're looking at it just the same way of like now they can they can position themselves. We have the strongest console.
Sure.
As Xbox is not doing anything anytime soon. We would have heard rumors about that. And I've been even seeing the like, hey, because Xbox does have that new SKU coming out where it's 2 terabytes. It has the disk drive. It's like the black with like the speckly star pattern on it and whatnot. And that's 600, but it's going to be weaker, obviously. So
Yeah.
because it is just a Series X again.
The GPU upgrade is good. I kind of wish they had upgraded the CPU as well, even if it would have made it a little more pricey. Like, I'm wondering, GTA 6 is going to be the next giant game. That thing looks like it's going to be kind of hefty to run some stuff. I'm wondering if this is like, if that's going to be the first game that's like, even on the Pro, you need a performance or a quality option or whatever, just because of what that game is.
Yeah. So, okay. So, like the big pitch, one of the cool things about getting to check out this console is I met Mark Cerny and like was talking to Mark Cerny about this. So that was kind of cool. And the big pitch is right now on modern consoles, you have to pick between performance and fidelity, and they were saying like 75% of their users are picking fidelity.
Yeah, of
Sorry,
course.
performance.
Performance. Yeah, yeah.
Performance. They're picking the frame rate option.
Yeah.
Each time. I was kind of surprised to hear as someone who picks fidelity.
I am not at all surprised, but it's cool that you don't have to make that concession anymore with this, if you get
So
this.
now they're going to have like what they're calling Pro mode, which will do 4K 60, so you get the best of both worlds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cerny was also saying this is going to kind of be on like a game by game basis. It's what the developers want to do. So he's already seen multiple versions of Pro mode going forward, whether that could be like one example was they showed us GT7 running at 8K 60, um,
Hmm.
or running with multiple different versions of doing ray tracing, whether that's like you can now see the reflections of the cars between each other, or you can see like reflections in like the wet surfaces and stuff like that. So there actually could still be performance and fidelity modes going further. They'll just be better versions of those.
Right.
Mm.
It's going to be time to we'll have to see what the developers do. They said there's going to be like 40 to 50 games at launch of this. We should say the launch is November 7th.
Yep.
Right before my birthday.
Yep.
Hey, there you go. And then more to come, but it's going to kind of be what the developers want to do with this for sure.
Yeah. Right.
And then so like I mean, you're saying you want the disc. When was the last time you put a disc in your system?
Saturday when I put in Astro Bot.
Yeah, I don't know, a
Okay,
couple
but
of
I
weeks
mean,
ago.
you're obviously an outlier, so like, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. But you, Paul, are you putting discs in your system?
To be honest, I don't play my system much. But yeah, I put a few in there, especially when I've had to transfer some weird shit over. Like I think I had to do that because I had a Final Fantasy, not Rebirth. What was the first one to get remake? Final Fantasy remake. I had to do some weird stuff with, and I had that on disc, so I had to do it that way.
Okay, yeah, I cannot remember the last time I put a disc in either of my systems.
Sure.
So and I have the disc version of the Slim, so like I could, but I don't buy physical games anymore. I don't have the space for them at this
Sure.
point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am curious how many people are kind of upset about the fact that they're going to have to buy the disc one, or are they just trying to find more reasons?
I
to be
think the
upset with
majority of the
price?
people that are complaining about it are people that already have a PS5.
It has to be, right?
Yeah.
Like I
Probably.
think any kind of outrage is from someone who like they're going to feel left out because they're like, well, now I don't get the best one because I can't justify $700.
Mm.
So I think it's just a lot of that. Like
I think another thing too is like one element of I can see is like for those that get like gifted games, like young kids who get gifted games for Christmas, like it's what looks better, getting a disc copy of a game or just getting like a gift card to buy whatever you want on the PSN. So there's like edge cases I can think of, but yeah, like I think there's definitely a subset of consumers that will not give a shit.
yeah, I think that's also just kind of like, I mean that mentality has to be just kind of an old mentality, right? As physical media is like slowly going, because like people don't give CDs to each other anymore, right? I guess people might give albums because that's kind of coming back a bit. But like, when was the last time anyone thought about even asking for a music album as a gift? Like, it would just be unheard of. You're gonna go to Spotify.
Right.
End of story. But yeah, I'm curious. I get to go play with it again next week. So that's exciting. And yeah, getting to play with it was cool. I'm trying to think. I asked them before we even saw the consoles, like the size of it, because that I was like, please don't be as big as the PS5's launch one, and it's not, but it is bigger than the Slim, so it's kind of in between those two.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Yeah.
You can't use the same color panels because the panels on this one are different, which is a bummer because
Oh,
I have
yeah.
I have like all the colors except black, I guess, for the Slim. So I like having like my red PS5, but I guess I'm going to be going back to white. I'm sure they'll come out with more panels because why wouldn't they? Those things seem to do well for them because they keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else new. The stand is the same. The controller's obviously the same.
I mean, the big things are they're introducing their own version of FSR or DLSS, which is PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, which is kind of what's going to make it able to do better looks and with the performance or whatever. So like that sort of thing is cool. But again, as like somebody who I would rather almost something be polygonal and play it at a higher resolution. So like that sort of thing doesn't really interest me. I think we're at a point where consoles should natively probably have some form of ray tracing. That seems like a thing going forward that should be standard. Also 4K 60 in 2024. I feel like that should be also the standard for consoles. So this all of this makes sense to me. It's really just the price to me. For how much I use consoles, I can't justify it for myself. That's all.
Well, would you say the same thing if you did not have a PS5 and you were in the market for one?
I would buy a normal PS5 for cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point,
Okay.
still. Mm-hmm.
What about you, John? You don't have a PS5. Now's the time to get one. You think you'd just get the Pro?
See, that's a tough sell because on the one hand, the Slim is smaller.
A little bit.
Yeah. And what's the price difference between the Slim and the Pro? Is it 200 US or is it 250 US?
Depends if you get the disc version or not. The disc version is 500. The digital version is 450.
Hmm. Well, knowing me, I would get the disc version, but like assuming I was getting the digital only one, like that's a $250 difference. That's a couple games.
Oh, for sure.
So that's the hard thing to justify. It's like, do I want the more powerful system so I don't have to worry about like some of my games chugging, or do I want a number of games right out of the gate so I am entertained? So
I
I
think
don't
a
know.
real good way of looking at this, I saw Patrick Klepek tweeting about this, was what you're pretty much buying at this point is like a PlayStation 6 Lite, because there's
Yeah.
no way that when the PS6 comes out in probably 4 years at this point, that those games aren't going to run on this one. We're still getting some PS4 games, right? Because of the
Yeah,
install base. So there's no way anyone comes out with like, this is a PS6 exclusive, like across the board. And if there are, it's going to be pretty few and far between. They're going to make sure it runs on the Pro, probably even the 5.
sure.
Um, so you're almost kind of future proofing yourself a little bit if you're not thinking of getting a 6 at launch.
And that's kind of why I wish they had also touched the CPU up, because like I could even justify maybe another 100 more if the CPU was a little more beefy, and there is more of that step. It just being the GPU to me is what's kind of holding me back a little bit from it, because yeah. But also I wanted to bring up one other thing with this. While I don't disagree with all the people doing like, here's how to build a PC for the same price, you're talking to people who aren't going to buy a PC. So just don't waste your breath. These
Yeah.
people want consoles. Like,
Yep.
don't waste your time. Like, let people enjoy it, things the way they want. Don't just be like, well, actually, if you do this, like, yes, you're right. It would make more sense to build a PC of similar specs for about the same price because you can do other stuff with it. But like, they don't care. They want a console.
I think you're true. I don't think anyone's sitting there being like, "Wait, hang on, what? I didn't know you could do that.
Everyone
I can
knows
get a
that.
gaming PC for that price." Like they already knew, and
Everyone
they
knows.
didn't want to. Like they wanted the console. That's
It's
why they're this upset about it.
It's because PC gaming has only really become popular in the last 15 years or so, like really popular. So I think a lot of people are still like, hey, did you know? It's like, yeah, we all know, bro. It's fine. And I'm saying this as a person who primarily PC games. Like, chill. I'm getting tired of that shit.
Yeah, yeah, they're kind of almost different audiences. I say that as someone who has like
Yeah,
everything. It's
they
like
are
it's almost
different
it's a bit of
audiences.
a different beast. Like at least to me, the PC is more intimidating than the console. The console will just do it.
Right. And to that point, it shouldn't be because it's way easier. But yes, anyways, for the console stuff, I still would just recommend, like, I don't think you're missing out if you spend $200 US less for the normal one. That's all I'm saying.
No, yeah, I don't think so either. But yeah, again, I think it just comes down to like more options is better.
Yeah.
They do this with phones. There's the standard iPhone, and then for like $200 more, there's the iPhone Pro if you want all the bells and whistles.
And people get pissed at that too. So like people will be mad no matter what you do. But the option's there for people that want it.
Yeah. So
That price is madness though. Canadian, when you see it in Canadian, especially, it's
Canadian
just like,
one is so frustrating,
oh,
dude.
it's rough seeing it in Canadian.
yeah, I mean that's what happens when you have a bad dollar. Like I don't know, all
Yeah.
your
Well,
prices
even
are
then,
bad.
that because that also tells me that when we get to the next Xbox or PS6, like they're gonna be disgustingly expensive right out of the gate.
I also love
That's a
how
great
it's more in
point. Like,
euros too.
what do you think the next ones are going to be? Because they're not going to come back down to like 500, right?
No. So like the
probably start at
PS5
$790.
Pro is like 960 up here. I wouldn't be shocked if the next one, the PS6, was like 800 Canadian. At this rate,
Yeah,
it's getting to that.
sure.
Like you think it'll be cheaper?
I think it'll be cheaper than the Pro, but it'll be more expensive than the base model.
Yeah, I don't know, because like theoretically, the 6 will be more powerful than the Pro, right? We'll have a
Yeah.
few more years, but just the fact that these consoles never got price drops, like that doesn't say great. You would think by
You-
this point they'd be like, I mean, there's some sale prices here and there. I feel like more so on Xbox's side. I rarely see PlayStation advertising major price drops, but like I don't know, around Christmas, Black Friday, sometimes I see the Series X close to like 300. It's pretty nuts. Anyway, um,
Yeah.
because there's no like hard, like permanent price drops. I can only imagine that those next consoles are going to launch like minimum $600, minimum.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go as low as they can to try to get the install base, but it's still gonna be comparable or more expensive than the base PS5 was at launch.
Yeah, I agree. While we're talking about price increases, I want to mention Sony increased their controller prices this week.
Oh, did they? I didn't even know about
Yep.
this. Okay.
Yep. So the DualSense is now $5 more than it would be. The
Sick.
DualSense, so in American prices, pretty standard. The DualSense was $70. The Astro Bot one is 80. So you're paying $10 for the the design. But anyway, now the standard controllers are 75.
Okay. Sure.
Which I think is pretty wild because I think aren't Xbox controllers like
50?
50? Like they're cheap and then they're often on sale. Like I see those things for like 40 kind of regularly. Um Sony is just like the expensive one. And I guess that's what you can do when you're in first place. You can kind of do whatever you want because people are going to buy it. And then going back to the Pro, I've been seeing a lot of people
Thanks,
saying
buddy.
like Nintendo must just be so excited with when they announced $700 for their console.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking Switch 2 they come out at $400, right? And everybody
Yeah.
cheers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, PS5 controllers in Canada, according to GameStop right now, are $95 for some of the older models and $99 for the fancier like metallic ones.
Wow.
And then the DualSense is 270. So $100 controller. And I'm gonna check. Let me check the Xbox by comparison.
Okay.
If
Yep.
the cat would let me do that, because he's lying down on half my desk. Xbox controllers by comparison. Oh, 75 Canadian.
Yep.
So $25 Canadian difference. And the elite version, so the fancy version, is 180. So
I feel like I want to highlight again just because, like, for our European friends, it's also like $200 more US basically in Europe for them. So that also sucks.
Yeah.
It's 800 euros.
That was one of the territories where the
Yeah.
console was more expensive
Yeah.
in Japan as well. Like we just talked recently, Japan got
They
a pretty
increased.
hefty price increase.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens.
gaming.
I will say, like, we didn't talk much about looking at it. Those visuals are nice. Like it's 4K 60. They look real nice. So
Sure.
See, yeah, for me, it's not a selling point. So, but I
Right.
also wasn't probably gonna buy one anyways. So.
Sure. Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is that if visuals are your selling point, you probably are getting deeper into PC stuff and then you're spending too much money. Like, man, if you want like good visual stuff on PCs, like $3,000 to $5,000 start, like then you're talking real money too. So like for 4K 60 on a console, if all you really want is better visuals and stuff, it's kind of still the no-brainer compared to a good PC build that can do similar stuff or even better stuff.
okay, moving on. Next story. This broke just a few hours ago. Pretty wild.
Yeah.
The entire Annapurna Interactive Publishing Division, everyone at the studio resigned.
Yep.
This is following a dispute
Insane.
with the owner. I don't think they actually said like what the negotiation was. Let me just read this here. Annapurna Interactive president Nathan Gary and his team had been negotiating with Ellison, the daughter of billionaire Larry Ellison. She runs kind of the game.
Megan Ellison.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. To spin off the video game division as an independent entity. When Ellison pulled out of negotiations, Gary and the other executives resigned and were followed by around 24 other staffers. The quote here, all 25 members of Annapurna Interactive team collectively resigned. This was one of the hardest decisions we have ever had to make, and we did not take this action lightly. This is kind of wild because from like a personal standpoint, if it was getting published by Annapurna Interactive, I was interested. Like they've been like signing bangers and some just really cool and interesting stuff. They had so much cool momentum, and it's just that's the end of it. Gone.
Yeah.
This freaking like whole field is so freaking volatile. It's nuts.
Oh yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
crazy, but also like fucking right on. Like I love this. Like
I mean, yeah.
she pulled out of negotiations. Fine, we fucking quit, and everybody just
Yeah.
walked out. It's
I mean,
that's dope.
It is better than like everyone got laid off because we'll get to that. The news
Yeah.
section's not over yet.
Yeah, of course.
So, but I guess like that it was their decision is cool. But like I guess it's me being greedy. It's like, but I want you guys to sign more cool games.
Yeah.
Well, it's more so like the games that already have contracts are now like, what do? We know we have no one to contact anymore.
Yeah, I cannot imagine if you're one of the developers, just being like, what does this mean? Like get those checks cashed ASAP. Like I don't even know what that means for you. Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg broke this because of course he did. He added on since I'll just read his tweet here. Since a lot of people are asking, Remedy's deal for Control 2 and Alan Wake, the television and movie stuff, and I guess the funding of Control 2 is within the broader company of Annapurna Pictures and
Yep.
is not impacted by the departure of Annapurna Interactive staff.
Okay,
Right.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't talk to you weren't here for that last week, John, but are you at all excited about like a Control TV show?
I haven't played Control at all, but I do like what Remedy does, so I'd be curious.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're both extremely excited for that.
Did you like the X-Files?
That of me?
Yeah.
It was all right. I like the Lone Gunman more, honestly.
Okay. It would be similar. Less probably of a tone you like if you like Lone Gunman, I would say. But yeah.
I don't think I've ever even heard of Lone Gunman.
It's
Lone Gunman was a spin-off of X-Files.
It's
and there were
the
characters
three
that kept
tech
showing up in the
guys
show.
that Mulder would usually talk with about stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're
They had a
dope.
spin-off show for like a season, and then like they got killed off near the end of the series.
Yeah.
This has a very low score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Eh, I was a young
38%.
kid.
Sure.
Yes, looks like one season.
Yeah. Hopefully this gets worked out and people get to at least go back to work or find something. That's the part that's a little scary. I just think it's punk rock as fuck to just be like, fuck you, we're out. Like, that's awesome. I love it.
From like a
I mean,
union standpoint, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if they came. Well, that's the thing is this wasn't even like a union thing where it's like, hey, we're going on strike. They just all quit. There wasn't a union here.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I don't think they would go back to this. I am kind of curious what this means. Does Annapurna Interactive continue in any way? Do they just hire other people? I mean, there's plenty of people in the games industry who are needing jobs right now. Yeah, I would love to hear more as the story develops, if there is more to it, or if it's just, and that was the end of Annapurna Interactive. The developers tried to find other publishers, and some of those games came out.
Yeah. Well, so it has been confirmed that Annapurna are still going to be honoring their agreements or whatever, and that
I would hope so.
they're going to keep all that stuff. But you're right. It's like at this point, do they just hire a whole new staff? They might have to. So who knows?
That's what I'm saying. Like, even if they're honoring the agreements, there's no one there to do that work.
to do the work. Yeah.
Like,
and then at that
it's
point,
not just, hey, we sign the check and then we sit back and wait for the next game. Like, publishers do work.
and
They
then
do
at that
marketing,
point,
you know.
if you're one of the people that made an agreement with them, do you like maybe start looking for like clauses out of your contract if you don't get what you want, because it's like they kind of broke it. They're like, who knows? Yeah, it could lead to a bunch of weird shit for Annapurna Interactive specifically. I'm just happy that control and stuff seems like it's still going to be fine for now.
I'm going to jump forward a couple stories because we kind of alluded to it. So on the other side of people no longer having jobs, this morning Xbox laid off another 650 people,
Woo.
which is just wild.
I didn't read this yet.
Yeah, this broke today. I think someone told me we are at the same amount of people or over the amount of people that got laid off last year already, and it's only September.
Oh yeah, no, I think we had passed that number like a couple months into this year actually. This puts for 2024 alone from Xbox around 2,500 people have been laid off.
Jesus.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I understand with this one, it was primarily like kind of more service based, behind the scenes. Like this wasn't any like game developers, no studios were closing down. I don't say this to be like, so it's okay that these people got laid off, but just to try and give a bit more context. The quote even here is no games, devices, or experiences are being canceled. No studios are being closed as part of the layoffs today. That's still like so many people. Like, oh my gosh, I can't. It's you would think after the last one, which the last one was 1,900 people. When was that? That was back in. That was January of this year. Jeez. And then to put it in context, the Microsoft gaming division at that time had 22,000 people, so they're probably around 19,000 now ish.
Got it.
So lots of people out there. It just doesn't stop. What was that website that was like tracking them all?
It was yeah, like industry layoffs dot something or something like that. I'll
Something
see if
like
I can
that.
find it. Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm trying to just find. So this is just getting rid of people that like they couldn't afford in the long run to keep around anymore, right? It seems. It says here mostly corporate and supporting functions. Just too many people.
Hey, it wasn't too many people last year. Well, I guess for Xbox not last year, but for the games industry, I guess it was last year. It wasn't too many people in 2022.
I think it's always too many people is the problem. They hire a lot. They overhire too many people and then get rid of them after they're done using them. It's kind of, I mean, it's not kind of, it's super exploitative industry.
It really makes me glad I didn't decide to get into actual programming and actually work for a game.
It's kind of crazy because like every industry does stuff like this, but not to this extent. Like it's crazy. It's actually insane.
Yeah. Well, is that the case, or is it just because we watch this industry closer and the other ones we just don't hear about?
Well, I mean,
We're not
any
on
industry
podcasts about them.
Any industry that utilizes like artistic merit or value does like bring people in to do a project then can them is I think a pretty standard thing.
Because like
film industry has this too.
Adjacent to ours, yeah. There's the film industry. I was about to say adjacent to ours, like the tech industry is also going through tons of layoffs. I feel like every half year I hear
Sure.
about Google laying off another 10,000 people, or Meta laying off 10,000 people, or whatever it is. Amazon, same thing.
Sure. Yeah,
it's
a
rough
lot
out
of
there.
those
Absolutely.
volatile industries.
Steam has officially launched Steam Families, so now you can share your games with quote unquote family members.
This isn't the same that we used to do. Didn't we do something?
I guess not.
So we talked about this before. It's like a slightly different setup, but it works roughly the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Ours was like it was system based, right?
Well, we still had to like give each
lock on a
other
specific computer.
codes or whatever.
It was
to log
locked
in.
to a specific computer. Yeah, I'm not sure how this one. This replaces both Steam Family Sharing and Steam Family View. I don't even know what that is. Maybe you could watch people play games.
Family View, I think, is the what they used to use for big picture mode or whatever. I think it's like the more like smart TV kind of setup where you have like the giant icons for games and everything.
Okay.
Well, isn't that called big picture mode?
That's what I'm trying. I'm not sure on this. That's why I'm saying.
Okay.
That.
Okay. Just a couple other highlights I'll put out here. All games are automatically shared between family members, although there's a people added context. All games are not shared. The developer of any game is able to restrict their game from being shared. Okay, so not all games.
Okay, sure.
Here's an interesting one. If a family member is banned from playing your game online, you will also be banned.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Don't share your games with people who are red flags. Maybe don't be friends with red flags.
Well, I mean, don't share your game with like children that will abuse the TOS or whatever.
Or anyone that will abuse it.
Moral of the story is don't have friends.
No,
I
you can
fucking
absolutely
agree.
have friends. Don't have friends with bad people. Get better friends. These last ones here, I'll just finish up. You can be removed from a family, obviously.
Fucking tell me about it.
I already said that one. And if you choose to leave a family, you must wait 1 year from when you joined the previous family before joining or creating a new one.
That's hilarious. The wording of this stuff is really good.
Just like the idea. Creating a new family, who wants in?
Yeah.
All right, so there's Steam Family Sharing. Okay, on an interesting note, Tony Hawk got out there. He was questioned about what's happening with Pro Skater, and there's not much here other than his quote. He says, I wish I could tell you more, but I can tell you that I've been talking to Activision again. We're working on something. It will be something the fans will truly appreciate.
3+4, let's go.
3
Let's
plus
do
4,
it.
because he said it was in the works before Toys for Bob and everything happened.
You think 3+4, or do you think a new Pro Skater?
I would think 3+4 before a new skater. Anyway.
Yeah.
I could see a new one happening before 3+4 actually. Why didn't they just do 3+4? Maybe there was like some weird licensing.
They were working on it, and then the company got shut down.
Yeah.
They got turned into like a Blizzard support studio or something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Or
Because
the
Tony went
Blizzard
on like
sludge.
someone's stream and straight up admitted 3 and 4 was in the works.
Oh, okay.
This was
They
like
should
2
do it.
years ago.
They should do it.
Something like that. They should absolutely do it for sure. Okay. Stuff I never thought would happen. Flappy Bird is coming back.
Weird. Okay.
A group named the Flappy Bird Foundation Group has acquired the official Flappy Bird trademark and rights for the original game. It is returning to iOS and Android in 2025. And some additional context here. While they did acquire the Flappy Bird trademark, the game they are releasing is not Flappy Bird in its original state. There are some like screenshots and stuff. It looks like it's going to have different modes and like levels and such, as opposed to just being like an endless flapper, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, if people don't remember, Flappy Bird, hugely popular phone game that the developer just got like tired of
dealing with
people,
the internet.
Yeah, he got sick of how successful it got.
So he was just like, I'm taking it off and I'm gone. The end.
Constant
and that
harassment.
Was the end of Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
And I guess he sold it. Good for him.
Yeah. Another game to add to this year's remaster.
Well, this is next year.
Bonanza or whatever.
But yeah. I
Every
wonder if
game's
people have
coming
like
back.
is anyone like excited just being like, man, I loved Flappy Bird. I can't wait for it to come back. I've been waiting for a decade. That was around 2015, right?
There's been enough knockoffs at this point that that hype's died down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's excited for this.
No one's excited for it?
Excited, no, but I'm sure a lot of people will install it to take a look.
Are you gonna play it?
No.
Okay.
Are you?
I didn't play a lot of the original Flappy Bird, but I mean, I might download this.
EDP Plus episode coming soon.
Yeah.
Talking about Flappy Bird for 2 hours.
Deep lore and yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Unity is killing its controversial runtime fee. Do you guys remember when they introduced this?
I do.
Not really.
They changed their pricing structure to be instead of like an install basis.
Yep.
It was like how much it was being used. Anyways, the entire community hated it. When did this get put into practice though? I can't remember how long ago we talked about this.
It must have been last year,
Article
right?
doesn't say, but they're getting rid of that.
Years ago? Yeah.
the deck here that it does say, so the company is reverting to a seat-based subscription model. This is what they had before, but will be increasing the price of Unity Pro and Unity Enterprise in January 2025. From the little bit I've seen, is the community is excited about this. People in chat are saying it was about a year ago. I think, yeah, I think it was sometime around. And actually, I also saying September 2023, so that's about a year ago. Good for them. Ready to make the right move.
Yeah.
That's news.
We
Now
made
let's
it
do
through.
some questions. Topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter and Blue Sky, I believe.
Yep.
Discord channel, John's PO Box are always, you can send in questions. And I can read this first one from Jack, who wrote a bunch, such as, hello, once again from the past. This time I'm coming to you all from 2018. Just finished listening to your Game of the Year 2017 episode and was really surprised to see Paul put Resident Evil 7 at number 2. Spoilers. Anyway.
Yeah.
That being said, in the year 2017, Sean's Game of the Year, spoilers, was Super Mario Odyssey, John's was Breath of the Wild, and Paul's was Hollow Knight. So my question is, have you gone back to play any of these games recently or played other games from that year since? And do you think they still hold that Game of the Year 2017 spot, or has your opinion on them shifted slightly in any way?
Recently, as in since 2017? Yes.
I'm loading up my list right now because I keep my list still.
Yeah, I do too. Not in the last 3 years,
trying to see what I actually had on that list. That was Game of the Year 2017, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have my list too. Let me see if I can find that.
Is this the year I don't have a file for? I don't have a file for 2017 specifically.
Oh, weird.
That's weird.
That is weird.
2009, 2012, 13, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
That is very odd.
Oh, 2017. I have to see if it's part of my doc or if it was like back on weird lists on like Giant Bomb. Hang on, where's my Game of the Year list? Game of the Year.
So 2017.
Nobody,
there's my Game of the Year doc. 2020.
I would change things on that list, but I would leave Hollow Knight at first.
Just comes up randomly.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would probably say I think Breath of the Wild still holds that spot, but I need to remember what else was on the list. I know Odyssey was. So I think that was the year people were surprised I didn't have Odyssey as my number 1.
Yeah. I would definitely change some things around.
And now that I played like Hollow Knight, I liked Hollow Knight a lot. So
I have my list.
Mm-hmm.
Number 10 is HQ, like HQ Trivia.
Hell yeah. Now we're talking real games.
No one here, Paul. Paul's muted on Discord.
I haven't heard Paul say anything in a while.
Okay.
Oh, really? I definitely wasn't
now
muted.
I do.
But weird.
Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah, it had Breath of the Wild number 2. I think looking back, I probably would have swapped those two now. I remember choosing Odyssey over Breath of the Wild at the time because I was just playing more of Odyssey than Breath of the Wild, and this kind of it was a lot because of the release dates. Breath of the Wild came out early in the year. Odyssey
recency biases.
So recency bias, basically.
For sure.
Yeah. What about you, Paul?
So I was saying I would change some things about my list for sure. Hollow Knight would still be my number 1. It still is.
Okay.
Next question comes from Hebrew Lantern. What do you call the different action buttons, aka the buttons on the right side of the controller on the PlayStation controller? Specifically the bottom one. I call it cross.
X. I call it X. I know the official name is cross, but it's silly.
I call it cross because when I say X, I'm talking about Xbox controllers usually.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, hey, Nintendo has an X as well, and it's in another different spot.
They all got X's.
True.
They're all in different spots.
I never talk about Nintendo controllers though, because I use Xbox or PlayStation controllers on Switch usually.
Yeah, that's true. I rarely talk about.
I don't have a pro controller.
When I do talk about Nintendo controllers, I still say like R2 as opposed to Z.
Yeah,
R.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Dad writes in and says, "What do you want in a Mega Man 12? I want Mega Man X9."
Yeah. Sure. What do I want in?
I don't know. I liked 11. 11 was kind of neat. The Double Gear system was was not quite implemented great, but it was interesting to play with. So maybe some like fleshing out of something like that or a new system. Like the graphically was fun, cutscene was good, voice acting was good, etc., etc.
Levels were too long. They need to be a little shorter.
Yeah, I could see that.
I want a TikTok man. That's what I want in Mega Man 12.
I like B Man's answer in chat to exist. I would like Mega Man
Yeah.
12 to exist.
Yep. That'd be great. I
If you
want
really need Mega Man content,
microtransactions.
play the Make a Good Mega Man level series because those are wild.
Oh yeah, there's the like Mega Man Maker stuff too.
Yeah.
You could play if you wanted to.
There's lots of options from fans. So, and some of those are extremely good.
There's a lot of good indie games that kind of do their own thing on that formula as well.
Yeah.
Antimagus, you must decide which timeline you have to choose. The decision will come from choosing an anniversary Game & Watch device to be made. Failure to decide will cause you to miss the deadlines for electricity for a whole year. Okay, so you just don't live with electricity. All right. Anyway, here are your choices. Timeline A, Gold and Brown Donkey Kong Anniversary Game & Watch, which has Donkey Kong Arcade, Donkey Kong 94, Donkey Kong Land, and Donkey Kong Jr. Game & Watch version. Timeline B, White and Pink Kirby Anniversary Game & Watch, which has Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby's Dream Land 2, and Kirby's Adventure and Fire. Timeline C, Gold and Purple Wario Anniversary Game & Watch, which has Wario Land, Wario Land 2, Wario's Woods, and Flagman.
No Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. Wario's in that.
That's
What is Flagman?
Flagman is an actual Game & Watch game.
Oh yeah.
Same,
okay,
same with
yes.
Fire. Those are actual Game & Watch games.
Right, yeah.
And so is Donkey Kong Jr.
I mean, Timeline C, because I like the Wario games most out of those three.
I don't think I've heard of Donkey Kong Land.
That's the Game Boy and Game Boy Color port of Donkey Kong Country.
I'm guessing we're just choosing which games we like, right? Like that's
okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: like Dreamland 1's way too short, but I guess Donkey Kong Arcade is way too short. Based on pure length alone, I think the one that'll last the longest will be Timeline A, because Donkey Kong Land and Donkey Kong 94 are pretty long. Dreamland 2 is hit or miss. Kirby's Adventure is good. Fire's a little fun thing. Dreamland 1's just really short. Wario Land 1 and 2 will last a pretty long time, 2 especially. Woods is fun, but you wouldn't be able to do multiplayer, so it's a little redundant.
Sure.
I probably am going Timeline A.
Okay, sure.
I'm going C. I just have more nostalgia for the Wario games.
Yeah, that's kind of it for me too.
Yeah, fair.
Suku writes, so it's been on my mind for a while. I was going to ask a question about the most expensive video game developments, but then I noticed Monopoly Go has a marketing budget of $500 million. And it's so far out of my wheelhouse, I don't even know what kind of game it is or anyone who plays. Who exactly are these people that are invisible to me? Do you know people who play?
Casuals. People who don't own consoles and stuff. Or if they do, they don't care. The greatest.
This has to be like the phone people, right? Like
Monopoly Go is the biggest mobile game at the moment.
Yeah, it's advertised on like Instagram, Twitter, like it's everywhere. But I've never actually looked into it. I haven't seen
these advertisements. Based on what I know, this is either a clone of Pokemon Go, so it's location based, or it's one of those like Hitman Go, like Ubisoft or was it Ubisoft? Square Enix titles where it's like a cool little puzzle game with little figurines, which Monopoly has figurines, so it's probably that one.
No, it is Monopoly.
Yeah, it's Monopoly. You get like different dice that give you different boosts for moving around the board. You're trying to move around the board and buy properties so you can move to different locations and stuff like that. It's a single player version of Monopoly, essentially.
Oh god, Monopoly is the worst board game ever created.
Apparently, people like Monopoly Go because it's made a stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has to be just like moms, right? Like instead of Candy Crush, they play Monopoly Go.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I've seen some people like around my age that have played it. So
Okay. Have either of you played Monopoly Go?
No.
no,
Yeah, neither have I.
but I don't play mobile games that much anymore, if at all.
Okay.
Mm.
Don't knock over my stuff, buddy.
VGC Kenny. Excuse me. Concord is the latest game industry example of a project that swung for the fences but instead struck out, joining the likes of Anthem, Stadia, Skull and Bones, as well as first impressions of games like Fallout 76, Cyberpunk 2077, and No Man's Sky. Those later ones may have improved themselves over time, and maybe Concord could do the same. But that's not the question. The question is, if you had the ability to take one game or game-related thing that was a complete failure and make it not only a success, but a monumental success, which failure would that be?
Failure, huh?
The Vita.
Sure. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I'm picking the Vita.
Yeah.
I don't know why Layer for PS3 came to mind for me just now.
What?
I also
Like
don't know
the-
why that came to mind.
Like the dragon one with the six
Yeah.
axis
Well,
support?
because I want a fucking Panzer Dragoon game that's actually good.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Didn't they come out with one like at the launch of the Xbox One that was like
They
Crimson
did
Dragon?
Crimson Dragon, and then like people were panning it for some reason. I don't remember why, but I know they had to patch it, and they did like an anniversary or fixed version, and that was way better.
You know, the first thing that comes up when you search Crimson Dragon is the Yu-Gi-Oh card. So
So yeah, good
Okay.
SEO.
Okay. Yeah. And what was a failure that I would want to make a success? Maybe Clay Fighter? I kind of liked Clay Fighter, but that thing if you brought it into 2024 and made it like an actual fighting game could be kind of sick.
Mm. Some people are mentioning can they do consoles in chat, and I would say the Dreamcast. I would love to see the Dreamcast and Sega still doing consoles.
would
'cause
be
I feel
great.
like they were the company doing the weird shit with consoles.
Bleeding Edge is the perfect answer, actually. Holy shit.
Yep.
I would love if Anthem did come back.
Anthem would also be cool too.
Anthem had
Anthem-
so much potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was rooting for Anthem. That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome. Yep. Wow. Now I'm just sad.
There you go. Another sad moment brought to you by Astro Bot
TDP.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Well, why are you bringing
Rastman-
Astro Bot into that? What did he do?
Well, because
He made me
Paul
sad.
was saying at the beginning of the cast, it made him sad.
Well, he didn't make me sad, but the idea of Astro Bot
Oh,
makes
I
me
see.
sad.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
It's just a sad episode.
It's
really.
just
It's just a
sad.
sad episode. Last question from Rasterman. With the recent Steam Families feature being released, what other platforms missing that feature would you like to see this feature implemented on in the future? Would you tweak any aspects of it depending on the console in question?
I think the only one that doesn't have it is Switch.
No, well, I mean the Switch has family plans, but I don't think it's quite. You can't share games.
You can't share, but you can share games on Xbox and PlayStation with family members.
Oh, then yeah, I guess it would be the Switch then.
Nintendo will never do that, and that's why their console can be $400. That's why the Pro has to be $700 because you guys are stealing all the games from each other.
That's why. Yep.
Yeah, the family plan is just the Nintendo Switch Online stuff. But yeah, there's no way. I mean, Nintendo's is also super annoying. Like, it's hard to like,
Hi, buddy.
even with your own, like if you own two Switches, you can't share the stuff between them. Even considering they have multiple form factors of that thing, if you know think considering the Lite
Yeah.
and whatnot, or just the concept of like one Animal Crossing island per system.
There are some dumb
Yeah.
decisions. No one will deny that.
Yeah. No, but I mean, family sharing is great, especially if you're someone who has multiple people in the household playing the games. It just makes sense.
Yep.
You know,
for
if you're
sure.
actually using it for the intended person, it makes sense for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
I'm trying to think, is there any other console? Yeah, the Playdate. Let's get family sharing on there so that neither of us have to spend $3 on the same game. All right, that's gonna do it for questions. If you want to send in questions for next week, topdownperspective@gmail.com, @TDP podcast on Twitter, and Blue Sky, the Discord channel, and John's PO Box are all great ways to send me
Dang,
questions.
dang.
What is your game of the week?
Astro Bot.
Astro Bot.
Astro Bot. Yep. Easy.
Mhm.
Easy
Go
peasy.
play Astro Bot. Another
If you
reason why the
can.
Pro has to be $700 is Astro Bot's only 60. So
Astrobot has to carry the shoulder, carry the entire system on his shoulders right now.
It kind of is. Kind of is. Not gonna lie.
true. This is true. All right. Thanks everybody. We'll see you next
Well,
week.
Bye.